Good day, you're watching the Fata Network. We are live in our studios here in Bigelow. This is an exclusive interview with the U.S. Parliament representative to the UN Human Rights Council, Michèle Taylor. Welcome to the Fata Network, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
So far, so good. How's your stay been in the Gambia?
It's been wonderful. It's my first time here, and I've just had an extraordinary experience.
The food?
The food's been great. The people are wonderful. Meetings have all been fantastic. So,
that's nice.
yeah.
So we've learned that you are a human rights activist as well?
Yes.
Okay, that's what you do.
Yeah, so my background is in human rights, mostly from the civil society side of things, but I became a diplomat 2 years ago, and as you said, I represent the United States at the Human Rights Council in Geneva.
Nice. So first of all, let's take a look at what your reason for this visit to the Gambia is about.
Sure. So the Gambia and the United States started 3-year terms on the Human Rights Council together just over 2 years ago, and we have been working very closely together. It's been really extraordinary to see the way that the Gambia has been represented by Ambassador Ka, who is the permanent representative in Geneva, and really taking, I think, so much of the valuable experiences here in the Gambia in rebuilding and a commitment to human rights on the ground here and bringing those forward to the international stage. The Gambia has been a leader, been a great partner to the United States, and so I wanted to come here to sort of build on that partnership and explore new ways that we can work together and support one another.
Aside building the partnership and supporting one another, is there something that you're particularly specific about that you want to achieve in this visit?
Really, that's the primary goal of the visit, was to just understand a little bit more what the challenges are here, what the opportunities are here, and some of the things that drive the decision making for the Gambia, so that again we can find those places of common interest and common goals and work together more efficiently.
So what do you believe has been the Gambia's most important actions in national and global human rights, and how does it have a global impact?
Yeah, so I think first of all, the extraordinary steps that the Gambia has taken here at home have really served as an example and allowed the Gambia to make very principled decisions on the international stage, because they understand the effects of both a lack of human rights and what it means to really build up human rights at home. I think one of the ways that we've seen that play out really in an extraordinary way is the support of the Rohingya. And the leadership that the Gambia has taken there. It's been wonderful to see that leadership. And also just the principled position that they've taken, for example, in supporting Ukraine, another small country whose sovereignty was challenged. And I think that the Gambia understands the importance of standing up for other countries and their sovereignty and independence.
Okay, so how would you rate our national human rights activities in the Gambia here out of 10?
So I'm not here to judge the human rights situation on the ground. I can say that the experiences that I've had have showed me that there's a very robust civil society that has been built over the last 7 years in particular. Strong engagement. I was really impressed with my visit with the National Human Rights Commission. It is rated very independent. They are clearly deeply committed to human rights here on the ground.
But as a United Nations chief, what are your impressions of the Gambia at a global model?
Yeah, so as I said before, I think that the Gambia has really taken their own experiences and as such has been able to demonstrate leadership and with real credibility and authenticity to be able to take the experiences at home of rebuilding, the importance of supporting journalists, for example, and they bring that commitment and that experience to the international stage and the credibility that comes with that.
Okay, so what would you like to see for the Gambia to move forward in the process of reparation from the Jammeh era and ensuring that those found guilty, of human rights violation by the Commission are held accountable?
Yeah, so I think that there's an incredible framework for transitional justice. It's a model that I think really is exemplary in terms of what transitional justice can look like. We, of course, are very supportive of the furthering of that process. So thrilled to see the Reparations Act starting to take effect and the commitment to that. And you know, some of the cases are starting to move forward. We'd certainly like to see more of that and to see the process playing out as quickly as possible, understanding the limitations in terms of just the resources that it's going to take.
Okay, you had a visit to the Memory House as well.
Yes.
Tell us about it.
I was, first of all, incredibly moved, and maybe should take a step back and tell you a little bit about my family history.
Okay.
So my mother was a Holocaust survivor, and I had the incredible experience of being appointed to work at the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C. And so, you know, I'm familiar with the kinds of spaces that tell these stories.
Okay.
The Memory House really was, first of all, very moving. Started out in the courtyard with the stories of some of the survivors and some of their families. And the way that the Memory House, first of all, tells the truth about things that happened in very, very recent history. And I think that that's an incredible model, again, for the way that Gambia has really embraced the truth and its own history. A lot of countries get there eventually, but often not so quickly. And you know, being able to hear through the videos some of the firsthand testimony of people, but also the way that the stories were told by the family members that were left behind by some of the victims was really very moving to me as the family member of a family who was largely wiped out and just had a few survivors. So it was both personal and, I think, from my perspective as, you know, a human rights champion, really extraordinary to see that truth being told in that way.
Okay, so the Gambia, as you mentioned, is joining the fight of the Rohingya people, and as well the HRC in protecting Rohingya from further violence and creating a safe environment for them to return home. What do you have for that?
I'll go to the second question, which is that we're not there yet. It is untenable to me that the Rohingya people could be returned until it is safe for them to do so. And at the Human Rights Council, we have addressed that issue. The United States is very concerned about making sure that the situation on the ground is appropriate for return before that takes place. But we so appreciate the Gambia's leadership in terms of keeping the attention and the appropriate pressure on Myanmar to do what's right and to tell the truth about the experiences that the Rohingya people have had.
So what's your role as champion on women advancement and to help combat gender-based violence as well?
So I have a long history of working in that field.
Tell me about it.
So, started out on the ground. I've worked at women's shelters and hotlines. I ended up chairing a global network of providers on sexual and gender-based violence. Had the privilege of working with then Vice President Joe Biden on the 20th anniversary of our Violence Against Women Act, looking at providers that received funding through that act and where the successes were and where some of the gaps were. And so I have a real understanding of what it takes on the ground. And while I was here, I had the opportunity to visit with several people that are working in civil society to address those issues, and really pleased to see so much attention being paid and an understanding of the real need for women in the Gambia to have opportunities that are survivors of sexual-based violence, to get the support that they need. But also, we all work at the Human Rights Council to make sure that those issues are addressed on the global stage.
You made mention that you met with the CSOs and the youth and women. So what message would you have for them in championing, women's rights and equality as well?
Yeah, I think first of all, just to say thank you, and the work that they are doing is so incredibly important, and it's hard work. I know that right now many of them are under-resourced and trying to take on Herculean tasks. So I think just remembering to say thank you is an important first step. I think that that there is a real need for more women's representation all around the world. The Gambia is not alone in that. No country has reached parity. But I've certainly heard about some interesting efforts to try to get more women elected officials, more women in non-traditional areas. It's amazing that this is a women-owned studio, and so would love to see more of that. So I think women supporting women and opportunities for women is really important. Also, we need the male leaders to be committed to that. You know, when 50%, or in this, I think in the case of the Gambia, 51% of the population is left out of economic opportunity, it holds everyone back. And so I think we need to continue to promote that.
Yeah. Before we take your leave, is there something you would like to tell the Gambian people when it comes to human rights and, of course, combating gender-based violence against women?
Yes, I just want to say that I'm so grateful for the partnership that we've had and look forward to continuing that moving forward. And in Geneva, here in the Gambia, I know that our ambassador here, Ambassador Comer, has been really involved in partnerships between the United States and the Gambia. And I come away really feeling more and more like we have a lot of opportunity to work together, so many shared values. And so I'm coming away really excited about the opportunities for the next year at the Human Rights Council.
It was great having you on this platform.
Thank you so much.
That was Michèle Taylor on her visit to the Gambia recently. Until we come your way, I know it has been a very insightful interview about her visit to the Gambia. That's all for this interview, ladies and gentlemen. I've been Jacqueline Coley interviewing Michèle Taylor. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you.